Hi everyone, it's time for Module 1, Week 2. This is our starter video. I just want to talk a little bit about what we're doing this week before I get into making the actual lecture videos. So remember, we have some homework every week, and it's not due every week, it's all due at the end, but I suggest that you not wait until the very end and try to get it all done. You won't get it all done in just a day or two. You need to be working on this during the 5 weeks while we're working on this module. I gave you, for a recommendation, I gave you this Module 1 schedule dated in the schedule of assignments, announcement, that if you wanted to download it, print it out, and keep it around, that might be handy. I put some little circles there so you can even check the little boxes off as you complete them, so you make sure that you don't miss anything. All right, so let's get into this this week. We have in content, we have all of the quizzes, the exercises, the project, and the discussions, and all of those have assignments that you have to do, or in the case of the discussions, you can do and get extra credit for. But then we have the module content resources, and under week two, it has 2 topics, the design process and HTML structure and semantic elements. In the design process, we're mostly just going to talk about, well, maybe I'll go ahead and talk about it. We're talking about how in design thinking, or this is a specific process, design thinking process, and this can be used for a variety of things, not just web design, but it is useful to follow these steps and know that you kind of go back and forth and move around in those steps. But the first is to empathize. So to figure out what your users really need and what they like, what would be useful for them, to actually get into the experience with the user. Define the problem, define what you need to be working on, or define even your goals for this website. Ideate, come up with some ideas. Work with others to come up with ideas. Throw some things out there that you think won't work and see what happens. Brainstorm, that sort of thing. Prototype would be, in our case, then making a sketch or a mock-up we'll do later on in the semester. And then test it. Ask users if it works, if it is appropriate for what they're trying to do. And then you may need to redefine the problem or redefine what you're working on, or you may need to go from the test place back to ideas. So get some new ideas. And you may have to loop around a little bit as you're working on this design. Don't feel like that this is necessarily a consecutive. You may end up even in the empathize stage already coming up with some ideas, for example, coming up with some sketches as you're working along. So think about who your audience is. Think about the goals that you have for the website. Come up with ideas. Come up with original, creative, interesting ideas, not just the first thing that you that comes to your mind. And then we're going to talk about prototyping in the next video and testing. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so that was part of the design process, the start of the design process. And we'll talk there about what wireframes are and what mock-ups are and how to make a wireframe and how to make a mock-up. I would love for you to watch this Lynda Efficient Web Design Workflow video. It is about a half an hour long, and it goes through a web designer's process And it even has a challenge at the end. If you wanted to go ahead and do that challenge, you're certainly welcome to. There won't be any credit given for it. There's no place to turn it in, but it is something that you're certainly welcome to do. But we're roughly going to follow her steps, except we're not going to make a mood board. But it's something that you could do for yourself on your own. And then, like I said, wireframes and mockups. And if you want some inspiration, there are some videos that I've come up with that you might be inspired if you wanted to look at those. And then also in week 2, we're talking about HTML structure and semantic elements, which is chapter 3. How to use HTML to structure a web page. And I'll make another video for exercise 3.1, and that will be due, or that will be something that you need to work on as well. You'll need to turn it in, but I'm trying to do these exercises kind of with you and for you so that you can follow along, and that should help you get a better understanding of how to do it. Now would be a fine time to go ahead and download the exercises from the textbook if you haven't already. Well, you would have had to for chapter 2 anyway. All right, so that's the week, and I'll make a couple more videos. You will see when I'm done with the next few days. You'll see another video in the design process, and you'll see a video in the HTML structure and semantic elements for each of for the exercise and just a little more information. So let me know if you have any questions. And this is your starter video. Get started.